So the NBA trade deadline is 1 week from today.
Yes.
1 week from today. Next Thursday will be the final day the Cavs can make any kind of trade to improve their roster for some sort of championship run. So I came up with 8 hypothetical trades that I wanted to pitch to you guys. Before I show you any of these trades, and I did send them to you last night, I want to make 2 things very clear. One, I am not saying I would do all these trades. Okay. I am just simply putting a trade out there to see if we can discuss whether or not it helps the Cavs or not, knowing that these are the frameworks of what a kind of deal for a player like this would look like.
So you're already apologizing for your own trades.
No, every time I put fake trades out there, people are like, that's a stupid trade. Why would you do that? I'm just proposing the trade. I'm not saying I would take them. I'll even chime in if you want. I'll even chime in on these if you want my 2 cents on whether or not they would do it.
Okay.
Also, it is worth remembering for all of these trades that as it stands right now, the Cavs are about 1.6 to 1.9, depending on the number, $1 million above the luxury tax at the moment. They are not a first apron team. They are not a second apron team. They are above the luxury tax. If they stay exactly where they're at, the repeat offender clock begins a year earlier than they want to, which can have some serious financial ramifications down the road. Next season, when the extensions to Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell kick in, they are almost assuredly going to be a second apron luxury tax team.
No, I don't think that's true.
Oh.
No. Right now, if you kick the extensions in, they're at $193 million, but that's only with 9 guys paid for. So unless they sign everyone else to minimum contracts.
I thought the same thing, and I talked to our cap guy, and he said no. So I don't know.
It doesn't really matter in the moment. What matters from what you're saying in the moment is that one of the things they would like to do is, in addition to getting better, is to potentially take $2 million off their cap.
That, or my big point is whether they're first or second, it actually doesn't make a huge difference. It is much easier to make trades when you are not an apron team, first or second, than it is when you are a first or second. Right now, regardless of anything else, they are guaranteed to be a first apron team. Jason, your tax guy may be looking at different projections than I am. The projections I'm looking at have them being right on the edge of a second apron team, but still having to fill 3 roster spots. So I don't know how they would stay under that. But it doesn't matter, first or second apron, much more difficult to make any kind of move with those restrictions as opposed to it is now. So you can make the case that if you're going to make a move, it is a lot easier to make a move with the current situation of just being in the luxury tax as opposed to doing it when you're a first or second apron team.
Gotcha.
So just keep that in mind with all these deals. For all these deals, I'll show you the proposed trade. I'll confirm with you by showing you the SPOTrack trade machine that it works financially. Then I'll give you a little realistic versus fun meter so we can see,
all right,
does this actually make sense or are we just kind of having fun with this? But the first trade involves Cam Johnson, who has been the belle of the ball of the trade deadline, the apple of the Cavaliers fans' eyes in terms of what is the best one you can acquire.
Yeah.
And in this instance, when I was looking at the potential salaries to match up with the Nets, I actually found it was easier to make this a two-player trade from Brooklyn because getting to just Cam Johnson's salary was a little wonky. So this was the trade I think makes the most sense for both sides if a Cam Johnson to the Cavs trade is going to happen. Cam Johnson and Day'Ron Sharpe, a young big on Brooklyn who's under contract for another 2 years, coming to the Cavaliers in exchange for LeVert, Wade, Tyson, Tristan Thompson, who's just in there to make the money work, and that 2031 first-round pick. You're giving up Tyson and a first-round pick that meets Brooklyn's requirement of 2 first-round pick equivalents for Cam Johnson, and you're switching out Wade and Thompson for essentially Day'Ron Sharpe. The money works, Steve. You can show them the SPOTrack. It all checks out. And on the realistic fun meter, I like Cam Johnson. I think this would be fun. I had it at a 10 out of 12 on the fun meter. On a realistic, it's in that 7-ish range because the Cavs are going to make a move. This is probably pushing all their assets in to get it. Thoughts on a straight Cam Johnson, Day'Ron Sharpe swap for those 4 players in a pick?
If you go and you put them names back up there real fast, this is one of them things where everybody like making trades until you see them names on the board. You're like, wow, okay, Dean Wade is an asset. We've already talked about how the Cavs play better when he's playing. Jalen Tyson, we think he got some upsides. We like that. Tristan Thompson is more of a throwing type guy, but here's one of the things I think you would miss a little bit is Tristan Thompson has a championship pedigree. Tristan Thompson is a dude who really would be a valuable dude during a finals or Eastern Conference Finals or a regular finals run. And Caris LeVert can give you that offense. First round pick, I could care less about. That ain't what we in it for. But man, if you would have asked me like a couple of days ago, I'd have been like, yeah, book it, put it in there, and let's do it. But when you see the names, it gives you a little bit of pause. I would still do it, but it's not like an over-the-top no-brainer, I'm just doing it tomorrow type deal.
Honestly, when I look at that trade, do you have, you got Cam Johnson's stats on the season so far?
We do have Cam Johnson.
What is his,
stats.
how many rebounds a game is he averaging? Because that's the first thing that I see. I see 3 guys on our trade that we giving up. That's Dean Wade, Jalen Tyson, Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, but Jalen and Tristan are not playing in the playoffs.
True. But
Cam's not a great rebounder.
Injuries happen.
Yeah.
Right? And if Cam Johnson goes down and we traded away those 3 guys, who is getting the board outside of Evan and Jared?
Well, you're getting Day'Ron Sharpe in that deal.
Yeah, but that's
pretty good rebound big.
Yeah, okay. He coming off the bench, yes. But I for some odd reason, it's just that one part don't say, at the end of the day, would I still make the trade? 100%, I would still make the trade. But I do think that you're giving up some assets as far as on the rebounding goes. That's all I'm going to say.
In the time that these two guys have hemmed and hawed about this trade, I've already shipped their asses out of town. This is the no-brainer of no-brainers. First of all, talk about injuries. Dean Wade couldn't stay on the court to save his life. The guy is always hurt. If you can't help the club from the tub, he is always hurt, so forget him. Tristan Thompson, useless. Jalen Tyson, young player, is going to be useless come playoff time. So the only guy of value I'm giving up for the playoffs is Caris LeVert. And this guy's a way better player. So, come on.
We said we taking the trade. I literally said I would make the trade. I just, if you wanted my opinion,
I did want your opinion.
Up rebound.
It's actually, to be truthful, some people have it as a landslide. Why would the Nets do that? I think that this is a closer trade than what you would originally think if you look at the pieces.
Excuse me for being an analyst and
analyzing
the entire the goods and the bad. What the
I
heck
tried to
was
make
I
these
thinking?
deals all as realistic as humanly possible. Like, I'm trying to be legitimate here, not fleece any side. Jason, what do you think about that deal?
I actually like that a lot. I really like Dean, but Adam's right. The number one ability is availability, and it's a concern of is he going to be healthy for the playoffs because he hasn't been the last 2 years. And from the Nets side of this, you can live with Dean's injuries a little bit more right now because you're not going anywhere, and he's still a young player and he's still getting better. And I think he's got a year left on his deal after this. Jalen counts as a first-round pick. They do have that 2031. I can't really gauge the value of that because it's so far away. But obviously it's probably going to be an unprotected pick. So, and from I like Day'Ron Sharpe too. Did you say he's got 2 years left? Because I think he's expired. He's restricted after this year. He's a free agent after this year. I think he's a free agent after this year. And I don't know what the Nets' appetite is for him. He's just a backup. But he's young. And again, he could grow into something. So
like a Jared Allen?
Jarrett was better. Very young.
Jarrett was better.
Okay.
But
he's 23 years old for what it's worth.
But how much money do they save on this one? Do the Cavs save?
In this deal, if the Cavs were to make this deal straight up, they also get under the luxury tax.
See, that's the key.
Oh,
so
I'll take that deal.
If you are addressing the wing, you're adding a backup big, and you get under attack, like that is from the Cavs scenario, that's an ideal scenario.
Perfect.
You really think there's a chance that the Nets would make that trade?
It depends on how the Nets feel about Jalen Tyson and Dean Wade. I have no idea how they feel about him.
And what else is being offered.
Right. And do you want to wait 6 years for a first-round pick? Like, that's an eternity.
That's forever.
Hey, man, listen, McNuggets, man, that's some front office type, you know what? I see you. You going.
He's great at putting those trades together.
I say, and they under the luxury tax? You might want to go ahead and email somebody.
Maybe Kobe wants you to be his assistant.
I don't think Kobe wants that.
Yeah, he does.
Can you imagine if McNuggets became the assistant GM and we ripped him every day for his moves?
Freaking McNuggets. What kind of terrible move is that?
Hey, McNuggets be on some trash, bro. Yeah. Core 4.
All right, next one.
Okay, so that was the Cam Johnson to the Cavs straight up. Yeah. I think Cavs fans need to be rooting for chaos at the deadline. the more chaos that happens with the De'Aaron Fox situation,
Yeah.
with Cam Johnson, the Cavs got Jared Allen as the third team in a 3-team deal. I think that could actually be one of the ways that they benefit the most.
Real quick.
Yes.
All it takes is one move. Like the De'Aaron Fox thing kind of came out of nowhere. So now you've got Jimmy. Now you've got De'Aaron Fox. It's like a gridlock with, I've seen this before. It's like all you need is one pebble to move.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing. And then
Why is that?
because when this guy gets this guy, now it opens a hole over here. So then all it takes is one move to start a flood of others.
Yeah.
So I'm like the Fox thing is a curve. I didn't. Maybe there was other teams that knew that was coming.
I didn't see it, no.
I didn't know that was coming.
They
So
fired
if he
Mike
go to the
Brown to appease him,
Spurs,
and then
yeah, I mean the freaking Kings.
How did
They
They're like the Browns of basketball.
They picked I can't believe they fired Mike, but they picked De'Aaron Fox and they trade Halliburton to Indiana, and now they're going to be without either one of them.
Right.
But that's
Yeah.
whatever.
So these next two trades are part of 3-team deals. There's a couple other 3-teamers in here, but chaos at the deadline is good for the Cavs because they could end up being the beneficiary in helping facilitate a bigger 3-team trade to get something back of better value than what they're necessarily giving up in assets. Cam Johnson's a guy we mentioned coming to the Cavs. Now, in these next two scenarios, Cam Johnson is part of the deal but not coming to Cleveland. The Cavs are a third team in the 3-team deal. In this instance, what would you think if the Cavs landed Obi Toppin as part of a 3-team deal with Indiana in Brooklyn? In this instance, the Cavs get Obi Toppin, the Pacers get Cam Johnson, the Nets would acquire Caris LeVert, Jarris Walker from Indiana, who was a top 10 pick last season. Isaiah Jackson's there just for the money. Another first-round pick, a much earlier first-round pick from Indiana, and 2 second-round picks from the Nets. So essentially Cleveland turning Caris LeVert in 2 seconds into Obi Toppin. This deal also gets them under the luxury tax.
What you talking about? I'm with Adam and the Bull. I'm taking people to Hopkins International. I'm doing shuttle service, and I'm gonna bring you some muffins and coffees.
Yeah.
Obi Toppin. How well is it me? I'm not seeing him every single day, but it seems like he's turned into a viable 3-point threat.
Oh, I say he got a jumper now.
He got a jumper right now, don't he? If I'm not,
Obi Toppin can play. He's under contract, and he gives you the big wing athleticism.
That's right. And he's a great defender, isn't he?
Solid. And he's a 36% 3-point shooter.
He's serviceable.
He's one of those guys that was a real pain in the butt for us against the Knicks 2 years ago.
He was
right?
a pain in the butt for the Pacers now.
Yeah. I like that trade a lot.
I take that trade.
Yeah.
All right, so 2 for 2. Jason, your thoughts on that as a 3-team?
Essentially, it's Obi Toppin for
Caris
Caris
and a 2. But what was so Indiana gets Cam?
Yeah.
Which sucks, giving Cam Johnson to another team.
You're improving the Pacers more than you're improving yourself if you're the Cavs.
Yeah, that's true.
But you have to hope the gap between yourself and Indiana.
I'm not sure what that gap is.
That's fair.
So, I mean, I'm
Good
sorry.
point. I didn't really think about it from that perspective.
One more. I'm sorry. Can I
still
say it
do
one more
it, though.
time?
You know he got AD.
Yeah, we'll pull it up.
Jason's having an ADHD moment.
We were talking and it was on the screen. I wasn't really looking at it.
Go ahead.
So Brooklyn, why would Brooklyn do it?
Much sooner first-round pick from Indiana. Jarris Walker was a 7th pick last season. He's actually played pretty well this year.
Yeah.
They get the expiring from LeVert in 2 seconds.
Okay.
They're only giving up Cam and still keeping Duron Sharp in this instance.
It's not bad. It's not like I think that is realistic. Again, like you just don't know what other teams value. If I'm the Cavs, I don't know that I necessarily want to make one of my competitors better because you made Indiana significantly better.
Yeah.
Don't you make your front court better? I think he's an athletic guy, and
I don't.
Much he's gonna play.
I don't love Toppin.
Did he go to Dayton?
Yeah.
He did.
He played for 4 different high schools, by the way, oddly enough.
He's been good this year. And he feels the need they
I'd
don't
still
really
do
have.
it because my thought would be, and I get what you're saying, it's a great point, but Indiana probably could find somebody else to make the trade with. So if they're going to get him anyway, we might as well get one of their other guys.
Let me ask you this, McNuggets, because I'm familiar with Obi Toppin. I haven't, but I don't watch him every day. How would he fit in the Cavs offense? Because I know he's a great dunker. I know he can hit the 3. Like, how do you think do you think he can fit in that? I got a spot to be in. I need to continuously move with the motions, set the off-back picks, pop out for 3s. Like, you think that fits his style?
I'd be lying to tell you I've watched enough Obi Toppin to have like a legitimate hammered down opinion, but his profile and his skill set fits alongside either Evan or Jarrett. So, yeah, I think he could be your third big in a playoff series.
I don't know that you're significantly better with Toppin than with LeVert. This feels a little bit to me like making a deal just to make a deal. Now, the flip side is
Do we get under
It gets you under the tax. Yes,
it
this
gets
one
you under the tax, and Caris is on an expiring, and Toppin signed for,
Right.
well, I think like 3 more years, 2-3 more years. So that's a win. If you like, if the Cavs like Obi Toppin,
Right.
that would be a reason
I'm
to
in.
do it.
Yeah, he's under
Mike,
contract through
would
28.
you make these first 2 trades if you're the Cavs?
I like the Cam Johnson straight up one more than this.
I do
the
too.
Pacers thing. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I think I probably would do this one as well.
Yep. All right, next.
All right, next is another 3-team deal involving Cam Johnson, except this time he's going to the Pistons, not the Pacers. So in this instance, the Pistons get Cam Johnson. I actually ran this by a Pistons guy when they were here the other day, and he kind of liked it. So if it happens, I may have actually instigated this. The Cavs get Day'Ron Sharpe and Fontecchio back in return. Fontecchio is a 6'7", 6'8" wing guy who makes less money than Okoro and is a better three-point shooter, not nearly the defender Okoro is. The Nets get Okoro, Tim Hardaway Jr.'s expiring contract, 2 first-round picks from Detroit and 2 second-rounders from Cleveland. So you turn Okoro in 2 seconds into 2 guys, and Sharpe and Fontecchio you maybe play in the playoffs, maybe not.
I'm out.
I don't like this one nearly as
I'm
much as
out.
the other.
I'm sure Detroit does like that.
I was scratching my head. I was like, what's Mike doing here? I'd never heard of either of the guys they
once
got.
again, another one where you're under the tax. So you're helping facilitate to get
Yeah,
under the
we
tax.
cool.
If I'm going to get under the tax, I'm just going to get rid of Craig Porter Jr. Even though I don't love
It doesn't
Okoro,
work like that because you have to have 15 guys on your roster, so you got to sign someone back.
Yeah.
It's not that easy.
you can't sign a minimum salary guy.
He
Still
is a
be
minimum
over.
salary guy.
Oh, he's minimum.
Yeah, he's not even going to get him. I don't even think he would get him under.
So I could have sworn you said they could jettison Craig Porter Jr.
Tyvus said that.
Yeah, Tyvus said that.
We can't do no Fantecchio, bro. I thought that was like Japanese.
Those guys are
TikTok
both
or something.
slapsies.
I'm
I don't
like,
want those guys.
What's Fantecchio, bro? I'm like,
Just
that's
giving
like
the options. Just giving the options.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to the next one. Not a 3-teamer. This is just a straight swap here, Steve. When you get this next one ready, we will bring it up. Nope, that's not it, Steve. Next one. All right.
Here we go.
So the Cavs don't have a ton of size on the wing. Harrison Barnes is a little older, but he does fit the physical profile for what the Cavs are looking for on the wing. He is an expiring contract. Would you give up Strus in 2 seconds for Harrison Barnes?
Ooh, Chris Fedor would love that.
This is a hard pass for me.
Nah, I don't want
I'm
it.
cool on this one, and I'm cool.
I've never been a Barnes fan. I'm just not a big Barnes
And he's
guy.
well past his prime.
And like
He definitely passed.
to Mike's point, if I didn't know he was on an expiring. You
Yeah.
got max signed for the next few years. As you climb
Yeah,
higher
yeah.
into the tax bracket, and as you start hitting first apron, second apron, it becomes so hard to make moves
yeah.
that you want to be whole. Like that's why the Suns are struggling, is because they had a lot of holes when they hit the second apron.
Right, so they got minimum salary
You
guys.
want to have as whole of a roster when you get there because it's so hard to make moves. And you're I'm not a huge Strus guy, but I like him more than Harrison Barnes, and I like
If
the
you'd have,
future years.
if you'd
have
have
with him.
asked me this last year, I would have told you, give me Harrison Barnes. But Max Strus kind of been playing better. He's been showing his versatility this year as far as the rebounding goes, the defense we seen a couple nights ago. So, like, I'd rather run it with Max Strus. The Harrison Barnes, he passed his prime, even though his shooting numbers ain't bad.
Both
Yeah,
of them have finals experience, but I would take Strus.
and I think the guys on the roster would frown. Like anybody in the NBA, like if you trade one of their friends or one of their people in a close knit group in the locker room, and it's for somebody that's obviously an upgrade, basketball wise, they could go ahead and
You know. Yeah.
they figure. But if you bring him Donovan Mitchell, like nah, bro.
This also
Barnes?
feels like making a move just to
Yes.
Yeah, like why
We're out.
We might as well keep Strus.
Make it a clean sweep. I would not do that either.
Yeah.
It does not get them under the tax either.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we
no,
would
no,
keep
we
them
cool.
there. All right,
We
we're
cool.
a clean sweep, not doing
Yeah.
this.
Cool.
All right, before you take this next one, Steve, Anthony Davis recently made a comment saying, I want to play with the center. I'm sick of being the 5 every night. I want to play with a legitimate center so I could be a power forward, at least for the regular season.
What a whiner.
So with that in
Who
mind,
said that?
Anthony Davis. So with that in mind, I
Dwight
whipped up a
Howard.
deal to get Anthony Davis what he wants
Oh Lord.
and get Cleveland something pretty valuable in some people's opinions. This guy has a very wide range of what you think of him.
Bronny.
But in order to get Anthony Davis a center, Steve, let's take this 3-team deal here. The Cavs Get Rui Hachimura from the Lakers and Duop Reith, who's a stretch 5.
Love Duop
on
Reith.
on a really good contract
Never
from
heard.
Portland. The Lakers get George Niang, who fits with only a few teams, but he does fit with LeBron, and Robert Williams from the Portland Trail Blazers to give them
The Time Lord,
legitimate-
right?
Time Lord, yep, to
Yep.
give them the legitimate center to play alongside Anthony Davis. And in this instance, the Blazers, who just give up Williams, who they have 3 centers already. Williams isn't really playing for them anyway. They get Okoro, Jalen Hood-Schifino, who's JSF from the Lakers, who was a first-round pick, who just hasn't really found his way in their rotation yet. A straight lottery ticket, essentially.
Yeah.
Christian Wood, who's just there for money, and 2 second-round picks in this deal. So the Cavs would turn Okoro, Niang, and seconds into Rui and Duop Reith.
Rui, and he's big, right? He's like,
Rui is 6'9" and pretty damn athletic.
I mean, he'd be starting for the Cavs, wouldn't he?
No.
You could either start him or make him your versatile
The
fill-in
Lakers got him
big.
for a second. I never understood that. Washington traded him to LA for it
True.
too.
I would.
This is my favorite of all the deals, by the
I
way.
love that deal. I would
think
definitely
I'm about
do that
to say
in a minute.
I would take that deal.
I mean, I'm grabbing him and starting him immediately.
That's my favorite of all the deals.
I've been trying to get him in my mind for about 4 or 5 months. I'm
They
like,
traded
dang.
him for second-round picks.
Lakers got him for a 2 from Washington.
I think it was 2-2s, but yeah.
Was
for-
it
for
2?
Basically nothing.
Washington's not trying to win.
That was
Shouldn't
that was
win.
what 2 years ago. That was 2
2
years
years
ago.
ago.
I'd
yeah.
take that deal. And you get a stretch 5?
I mean, I don't even know if Okoro and Niang play. How much are they playing in the playoffs? Those 2 guys.
Depends on the opponent.
Yeah.
I'll say this. It seems like George Niang is shooting much better than he did last year.
Playing well lately.
Didn't he have
Is
like
that
15
realistic? That
last
trade,
night?
Mike?
If the Lakers really want to get a center, then yeah, I think that
I mean, the
works.
idea of a 3-team trade coming together like that is probably.
I think Niang gets a bad rap sometimes with Cavs fans
Yeah.
because he was so bad in the playoffs last year. Like
Yeah.
he couldn't make a shot, and like it sucks, but it happens.
Yeah.
But I do think he can help them in a playoff series.
Okay. But you'd make this trade, wouldn't you?
I like Hachimura.
Yeah.
I don't think I love this trade as much as Mike. I like the first one he had up there the best, I think.
I do too.
Or we
But-
get Cam Johnson?
And I think Niang right now is trending in a better direction to play. I think it's going to be hard for Okoro to get back into the rotation. Like Strus is back.
He's got to make shots. Period.
Yeah.
Isaac's got to make shots. In the postseason, you can't play like how many times have we played 4-on-5 with him on the floor?
Yeah.
Right.
That he's
Yeah.
got to make shots.
And everybody
2 for
brings up the
23.
defense, but you're not like playing a small guard for defensive purposes.
No, for him to.
Yeah.
he has to make shots.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
has to make shots.
All right.
So in that one, real quick, you would
Yeah.
do it, Bull?
Yeah.
G would do
Add me
it.
in.
Jason, is that a yes to you?
Yeah, I don't like it as much as you. I don't think, but because I still think Niang can bring them some value in a postseason series, but I would be inclined to think hard about that.
Is
How about that? for
Niang's
answer?
American, isn't he?
Yeah.
I always
from
lean.
Boston.
I always lean foreign player over American. They have better
Georges.
fundamentals.
Ty, would you do that one before we get to the next one?
You're
Yes,
just
sir.
racist.
This guy.
All right.
Racist against your own.
I'm racist against Americans.
We mentioned this guy yesterday. This is the Jonas Valanciunas deal. He
Yeah.
makes almost identical money to Okoro. It's 10.1 versus 9.9, almost identical money. He is signed past this season, so it's not an expiring. So would you guys do Valanciunas for Okoro and 2 second-round picks? It gives
Yes.
you your big,
Yes.
big.
Yes. Yes.
Next.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
even need to go into
He
detail.
is one of the
Yes.
most exclusive goons on the planet.
Yeah.
It's
That gives him
him.
some toughness.
Travis Kelce's
I meant to look
twin.
up. I meant to look up Valanciunas' contract and I didn't. What does he have left?
I believe it's 2 more years at $10 million a year.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. That one.
The biggest is him. Aquaman
It
is
is 2 more
second,
years.
and then you got some of them Wagners. Yeah. Those goons. Oh, Sangoon. Yeah, he's
His goon right in his name.
He top 5 goons right now
Sangoon.
moving. Those 5.
Said
Those
What about
five-
Lou Dort?
Nah, he's not really a dude. He's
Not-
not really.
not
No,
dude.
He's not as big.
That's true. This is a no-brainer, this one.
My one thing with this deal, because
Yeah.
I brought up Valanciunas to you guys last week off the air saying
Yeah.
I liked it. If you were to make this deal, they're both under contract for 2 more years, so Valanciunas is under contract through 26-27. You're essentially just saying, all right, Evan Mobley, you're officially a 4. And you're not ruining the chance, but you are locking yourself into playing him alongside another big. And Valanciunas can shoot a little bit. It's not like he's a complete non-shooter. But some of my personal favorite lineups with the Cavs have been Evan at the 5, surrounded by more shooting.
Yep.
If Valanciunas is the backup big, you want to lock into that third backup big for the next 2 seasons. He certainly isn't a 4. So that's just one thing you have to consider as you move forward.
But I still think you can still put Evan at the 5 in spots just because you have Valanciunas. I just think Valanciunas, we were talking about earlier, I think Valanciunas adds a level of physicality that this team needs.
He cleans up all that.
Yeah.
All
He's a
of that,
goon.
that glaring need, all of a sudden, like, you got enforcer immediately.
Right. Sengun pulls that crap again, he's going to kick his ass.
Like, I'm talking, these screens that he be setting, listen, these are brick walls, man.
Yeah.
Like,
He hurts Darius and DG he hurts Darius and Donovan every time he plays the Cavs because they
My
run into a screen.
goodness.
You would actually be eliminating 20 chances of him hurting those two by trading for him.
Right.
and listen, I know he's not a knockdown 3-point shooter, but he's developed some range. Like, he's like, the highlights of him shooting 11 threes. How many hit in a row? Like, he had like 8 threes.
Valanciunas can shoot. He's
Like,
not
like a couple years ago, hit like 8
Yeah.
or 9 threes in a row. Like, so listen, I love this, man. This changes a lot for the Cavs. And if you think about it, now all of a sudden you're like, Evan Mobley can block shots, Jared Allen can block shots. They can really switch out.
Yeah.
Now they got this goon coming off the bench that's a Rough Rider. Man, come on, man. Give me that right now.
And Mike, you're concerned about, like, in the future with Mobley playing, like,
Yeah, just
couldn't
lock
they
him
in
and
the
make it something.
offseason, if they felt that way, then move Valanciunas in the offseason?
Well, then you're in the aprons, and it's just a lot harder to make that move.
But they wouldn't be in the apron if they get under the cap here, right?
No,
That
they're
doesn't
Oh, they're
an
going to be
apron
in the
team.
apron either way.
They're an
All
apron
right.
team next
All
year,
right, fair
no
enough.
matter what. So it just in a vacuum
something
for
to
this
consider.
year, in a vacuum for this
Yeah.
year, I
It's a
love the
smart move,
Valanciunas
yeah.
addition. In the long term, I think it makes some other things a little more complicated. Will
All
I
right.
still do it? I think about it. I'm not 100%
You're
sure how I
doing it.
feel.
Not,
this week.
and plus, I feel like if Mobley continues on this trajectory, you ain't got to worry about who he gonna play with. Like, he's gonna add some different things to his game where he can be mobile, he can shoot, he can pass, he can play in multiple positions. I think
I'm not worried about him playing with Valanciunas. Those two can play together in a heartbeat. I'm just saying some of their better lineups have been Mobley at the 5 with 4 wing guys
Right, I see what you're
around
saying.
him, and it's a little tougher to find minutes for that lineup if Valanciunas is your third big.
playoff minutes.
Yeah.
They might have to go game to game. Some games
You give up something to get something, right?
Yeah, you got to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is the last one. Steve, don't take it yet. The first 6 were all within the realm of realisticness.
Yeah, these are goofy.
I have one. I just want to throw out there for pure fun.
Bronny.
We mentioned earlier Anthony Davis said I want to play with the real center, right?
Oh, man.
What if that real center was Evan Mobley? Steve, take the graphic. This will never happen. This
Lord.
is a joke, but we're going to have some fun with it. Anthony Davis and Cam Reddish for Allen, Strus, Dean Wade, Jalen Tyson, and every pick the Cavs could offer for the next 50 years. I don't care.
I'm in.
The starting lineup of Anthony Davis, Evan Mobley,
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and me, we're going 82-0.
And me.
Championship parades year
Well,
after
Anthony
year.
Davis gets hurt.
Let's
hurt
do
a
it.
Where
lot,
would
but
this
still,
where
I
would
do
this put us in the apron?
I actually did the math on this because I'm a psycho. You ready?
Yeah.
This deal it'd be a second apron team next year, but they're already going to be a second apron team potentially next year. So
Who cares about these stupid
cares?
aprons?
Yeah, listen.
Oh,
I
you're
don't
gonna
even-
care when
I don't
you get
even.
there.
I
No,
don't
not
even-
if they got Anthony Davis.
I don't even wear one when I cook. We don't care about aprons.
Can we force him to shave the unibrow?
your choice.
Hey, this. Listen. Obviously, the Duke of Knee Jerk is all over this pick. Like, when you said Anthony Davis and
Yeah.
Evan Mobley, my knee was moving up
in.
and down. I'm like,
We're in.
whoa, fella.
You know how, like, when you go to the Yankees, you have to shave? If Anthony Davis comes to the Cavs, he's got to
I
shave
did
that
a
unibrow.
podcast earlier this week with some of my buddies on Cavs Twitter, and I proposed this trade to them. And I had a 50-50 split. I had 2 guys. My guy Tony and Max said they wouldn't do this trade. And I lost 1% credibility in them for saying they didn't want to give up the depth for Anthony Davis.
Now, Jason.
What are they?
If they Jason
Stupid?
Jason
I love
hates these
them. They're great
hypotheticals,
dudes.
and I'm gonna ask you a hypothetical.
I do hate
If
hypotheticals.
Anthony Davis was on the team as constituted, would the Cavs be the prohibited favorite to win the title
They'd be the favorite.
multiple times?
They'd be the favorite. Yeah.
You make the deal.
AD, Mobley,
Jimmy and Joe's.
Donovan.
You don't win a championship with depth. You win it with stars.
That's right.
I'm just what I'm saying.
Especially if you cut
And the
game
Cavs
to 40
have
minutes.
depth, even when they made that trade.
I would do the deal before he even finished. He's Cam Reddish or not.
That's
he's only in there for
absurd.
money. Yeah, I'm doing the deal.
Tell your friends they're knuckleheads.
Yeah,
Great
that's,
dudes.
That's
but
insane.
I'm doing
I don't
the deal.
care.
Now hold on.
Great dudes.
Hold on. Now this is crazy.
Yeah.
What if it was the opposite? What if they wanted Evan Mobley?
No.
I'm not trading Evan Mobley. No.
Would you include Darius Garland in that trade?
No, because then you'd have Anthony Davis, Jared Allen, and Evan Mobley, which is
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense.
Okay.
redundant overkill.
Yeah.
But no,
And you're
Evan
not-
Mobley's untouched. In my mind, Evan Mobley is.
Isn't that
essentially
funny how that's
untouchable.
changed in 1 year?
Right.
No,
In one-
Jason and I were always on the right
That's
side.
true.
of
You
history.
guys were
Yeah.
always. The rest of us are idiots. We would have traded
Yeah.
him.
No, we was just believing what we saw.
Yeah.
All right, we got Danny Green in 10 minutes. Before we do that, real quick, your favorite trade of all the proposed trades.
The first
First
one.
one.
First one.
First, getting Cam
Yes.
Johnson straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done deal.